Want to talk also real briefly about Adam's Murmur?
Yeah, it's almost, to me, it's funny, I still see it, and I have a friend's daughter who I was saying, we're going to make a video for this eventually, and she's going to be the star of it, because it has this childlike thing to it with, you know, feet to hip, navel to breast, you know, it's just this, it's like your body, you know, you're connecting with your body, and the way it's sung, where it's just this pedal, it's very childlike to me, it has an innocence. And the song definitely explores that. It gets into just connecting with the body, and it's really inspired by an author. There's two people. One of them is Carolyn Mace. She wrote a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, and numerous books since. She's insanely prolific, and she kind of gets into the links between the body and the whole universe and the external experience, and how they're all interconnected, how everything's essentially interconnected. And so the song kind of gets into that, where it's like, you know, our bodies are essentially a micro of the macro, you know, and kind of innocently exploring those kind of chakras or power points, and how we're, you know, I guess the first verse is from my great arteries to every blade of grass, a universal path, you know, so it's inner to outer to the whole thing. So, and that's really the whole core of the tune.
It's that union, that yoga that you talk about between our perceptions and what's actually out there.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about spirituality and the spiritual path, and how that relates to what you're accomplishing musically.
I think it's pretty much the whole deal for me. And I learned that years ago. I had a teacher that kind of encouraged me to go deeper down the path, and it was naturally, innately inclined, but what was curious was, I guess, like getting turned on to people like John McLaughlin, who were kind of marrying these worlds, and I got really into Mahavishnu Orchestra, and I was like, wow, it doesn't have to be separate. I don't have to be this rock and roll musician and the dude that meditates. They can kind of merge, and they can coexist, and they always have, and I didn't realize it. And so it's, to me, it's all one thing, you know, it really is. It's kind of an extension of who I am in terms of what this band is about and why we're doing this. And I feel it's the duty of the artist to some degree to push the envelope and to kind of give back, to kind of maybe put up the mirror and just say, who are we, or what's happening here, and do it in a way that's loving and compassionate versus hitting you over the head. You know, it's gentle, it's not trying too hard, it's more just sharing, you know, and I just find the more I discover or kind of uncover, or whatever you want to call it, the easier it becomes for me to kind of do what I do. It's all kind of, oh yeah, this is natural, this is there's no work to do, it's just the doing. This is non-doing. This is, you just show up and it just happens. And so
which isn't to say that there's not effort involved, because obviously there is.
Yeah, well, the effort is our presence, right? Is our ability to stay here with what's happening versus being pulled away. And but when you're in that flow, it doesn't feel exhausting. It just, it's almost the opposite. It's invigorating. And that to me is what music is about. That to me is the whole craft of doing this. And I don't know, I'm grateful to be a musician, really. I feel lucky, that I found this early on, and it made a lot of sense to me in terms of something that just resonated on multiple levels, and that my parents were cool enough to push me and say, okay, if you really want to do this, we'll get you lessons and you better get to work and practice. And I was like loving it, I was like, okay, so it was it made a difference for me in terms of having that sense of like, I wasn't fighting a system, I wasn't trying to prove a point or go against anyone. I certainly had my dark moments and periods, but they were more my own stuff versus what was going on out there, But it took a while to realize that, to stop blaming everybody else, Well,
I certainly feel lucky to have discovered Cynic, and it's been a wonderful experience this last few weeks listening to it, and I look forward to seeing you again tonight.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add? I didn't ask you about.
Oh, well, thanks for this talk, and thanks for being here. And it's kind of a special night. It's the last night of the tour, and we've had an amazing run. This has probably been one of our best tours we've been on. Just the chemistry between the groups has been so effortless and so easy that I don't take this kind of thing for granted. I say, wow, how cool. It's really encouraging for all of us. Everyone, I think, is feeling the same way, which is nice.
Excellent. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
If you like this band, you should buy their music and other merchandise at WhiteNoiseMetal.com. If you like White Noise Metal, say so with positive comments on iTunes and MySpace. And please tell your friends about the bands you've heard on White Noise Metal with that BS dude, Brian Shields.
White Noise!